Happy Saturday, everybody. Happy Saturday. Welcome to the Business Temple. This is your co host, Alex Padron, and my
Your
co host.
Super Ray here at the Business Temple. Happy Saturday. It is amazing to be here with you, my brother, Alex
What's
Padron,
up?
Super Alex. Oh, it's another great Saturday, another great day to talk shop, to talk business, to talk about, what is it today?
It's about your college diploma.
Woo! College diplomas. Oh, but before we get started, we got to get people hyped up
That's
and
right.
make
Let's plan
sure
in.
that everybody goes ahead and likes and subscribe. If you are enjoying our content thus far, be sure to spread the message, like, subscribe, share this content so more people can get the education that they need right here instead of getting a college diploma. We're going to just jump right in there
That's right.
real soon.
Smash that like button, everybody. Smash it. You will get the best content in terms of entrepreneurship, personal development, and all things philosophy as well. So we're doing this, Ray, and let's go, man. I
Let's
feel
go.
good.
Let's
Always looking
go.
forward to the Business Temple every Saturday. It's my happy place, bro. I
Mine too, brother.
swear. I feel
Mine too.
good. Like just hyping up the weekend, going through it, and then and I'm doing this at 9 a.m., man. So I'm literally starting my day with this motivation, this inspiration, and stay consistent with us, everybody. Hit
Yeah.
that bell notification on YouTube as well. We are live every single Saturday, 9 a.m. PT, 12 p.m. ET, and now we can talk about the college diploma. That's a good. Does your college diploma really matter? I thought that was a little bit clickbaity of me to add that title, wasn't it?
No, not really. It's not clickbaity at all, brother. I think that it's important for people to understand what they're getting into. When it comes to college degrees, let's just jump into it. What are your thoughts? Where's your head at? I know you're coming from the Philippines and you were born here in the US and you understand the school system here, and there's also a differentiation between the school systems here and the school systems abroad.
Definitely.
So maybe even get into a little bit of that, but I want to know your thoughts from the get-go. What do you think about college, the college diploma? Is it worth it? Where's your head at, Alex? Where's your head at, Super
So,
Alex?
especially when it comes to entrepreneurs, I would say that I would define entrepreneurship as not only helping people but also risk management. And I learned that I didn't know that right away. So when it comes to school, college degrees, university, and all that, I would say it is worth to get as an entrepreneur because,
Mm,
like I mentioned earlier, part of risk management, it keeps you employable because the failure rate for entrepreneurship it's pretty high. So in the United States, I believe it is businesses fail 20% their first year, and that's according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics. In the Philippines, I'm not entirely sure. It might be a little higher than that. And so having a diploma would help you be more employable, but I don't think it's absolutely necessary to become a successful entrepreneur,
hey,
as
but
you
I'm an
might see.
entrepreneur. Come on, man. I don't believe in a safety net. I don't need a diploma. I can just get started without a degree. It doesn't
You
matter.
absolutely could. You
Alex, what do
absolutely
you
could.
what do you say to those people that tell you that? Like, hey, why the hell do I need a degree? Why do I need to spend $50,000 a year in college, graduate after 4 years, get into debt, and then maybe find a job? Who knows? But as an entrepreneur, I believe in taking risks. And in what is the risk that you take if you don't get a college degree?
That's an interesting one. The risk that you take if you don't take a college degree. So for me it would definitely be it would you'd make a lot of mistakes as an entrepreneur, especially well, I didn't know what I was doing at the time when I started back in 2017. Thankfully, I did not make any fatal mistakes that would kind of stop me from my journey. So you will make a lot of mistakes, and that is the risk there. Mistakes with money, mistakes with the people that you work with, mistakes with your product, services, and marketing and all that, if you're not entirely familiar with that, you need to self educate. Just because you did not get the college diploma doesn't mean that your education stops. You know what I mean? And that is the thing with entrepreneurship. I did not finish university, and that didn't mean though that I stopped educating and teaching myself. So I had to learn things from the ground up: sales, marketing, branding, and business administration, and all that stuff. And the thing is, all the stuff that I'm talking about is all accessible online. You could go on platforms as simple as YouTube and educate yourself when it comes to working your business. So I would say
Mm.
education is a lot more accessible now. University will probably compile it, consolidate it in such a way where, hey, this is the right way to do things, or this is the proper way. I want to say right way. This is the proper way to do things. And for me, I think that keeps entrepreneurs kind of like in a box.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Whenever I work with people who have MBAs and all that, they're such structured individuals. Not all of them, but most of the people that I work with who have MBAs, very structured individuals, and it just kind of blocks my innovation and creativity working with them. So where does your head land on that, bro?
I hear you loud and proud. Before I give us a little bit of background story from the position I come
Mhm.
from, what I got from you is that just because you don't go to college doesn't mean that you stop going to school. You know what I mean? That's
Mhm.
the quote right there. Just because
Mhm.
you don't go to college doesn't mean you stop going to school. If you don't go to college, if that's your choice, if you can't afford college, know that school is available everywhere and anywhere
Absolutely.
you want, easily accessible online. Classes can be available to you for free at no cost. There's YouTube videos that you can learn from. Everything can actually be a school if you just apply yourself to it. And for those that choose not to go to college, that's okay. You don't need an accreditation to validate your intellectuality. So if you
Love
choose
that.
to go to a trade school, if you choose to go to,
Mhm.
well, if you choose to learn online, if you choose to learn from videos or take master classes,
Yep.
that's that's honestly a great route to go, because just because you don't have a college degree doesn't mean that you have to stop going to school and learning. And maybe that's the disconnect for many people, that they believe, or let's say previously, I think the
Mhm.
stigma, the taboo has changed over time, that if you don't have a college degree, that means that you're not employable. And granted, it we have seen such a turn in the last even 10 years when it comes to college degrees, that
Yep.
millionaires like Elon Musk has publicly stated as well that you don't need a college degree. And and I wholeheartedly believe that you don't need a college degree to get a job. I don't think you need a college degree to become a great entrepreneur, but it doesn't mean that you stop learning, that you stop taking information in and doing things that you love. And in order for us to get better at anything, we have to learn from others, and we have to get that information where we can. Whether it costs $50,000 a year in a
Yeah.
school where they put you in a classroom full of other kids and you try to learn in that format, or if you can't even learn in that format, learning in different formats, or paying $10 a month for a Coursera, or what's the other one?
Udemy, stuff
Has
like that.
uh, Udemy, exactly. All these
Mhm.
different websites that offer courses that you can just do at the comfort of your own home online. Even also General Assembly is also a great accredited place to learn if you want to learn anything when it comes to tech. It's a little bit pricier, but you can find it anywhere at a discount, rather than going to school, spending all that money just to get a piece of paper that says, "Well, I'm committed for 4 years." I'd rather see
Yeah.
4 years of experience in a field that I'm hiring for than four
Mhm.
years. I can sit my butt down for 4 years and get a piece of paper, get a diploma.
You're
Um,
right. And the thing is as well is how people actually apply their education.
that's true.
You know what I mean? Like you could have a fancy college diploma and all that, but if you're not really applying it in a practical setting, then what was it all for?
That is true. That is true. And this is all coming from a guy, myself, that graduated from university. I went to St. John's University to study business there. And then I transferred because the bill was just way too high. I was paying 50 grand the second year. I got a scholarship my first year. The second year, I wasn't able to secure the same scholarship. And I attended my sophomore year there, but I then transferred over to University at Albany during my junior year to complete my college diploma and graduate with business and with a business and communication degree in 2011. And I did all that, and still I look back and think, what did that buy me? What did all
Okay,
that schooling
let's
buy
get
me?
into that.
I would say not much, to be honest. It looked great on my resume. It looked great that I graduated, that I was capable of doing this.
Hmm.
Because to be quite honest, during that time in 2011, now that I said that things have changed, back then in 2009, 2011, only about 40% of the or 30, 32, 33% of the
Hmm.
US population had a college diploma, and even less so for Hispanics. And it's still
Got you.
true till today, where we, as I guess a minority, do have to continuously prove ourselves in a
Yeah.
way that shows that we are educated, that we're capable. And now that we got into a place where nearly 53%, and this is according, I'm getting all these numbers from Lumina, which
Hmm.
is an organization that follows the higher education for different races and states in the United States between the ages of 25 and 64. For
Yeah.
those people, uh, I would say, like, now that we're at a place where it's higher, now college doesn't matter. When everybody's included in the pool,
Hmm.
college doesn't matter. But back then, when the pool was smaller, when not many people had access to higher education, that's when people looked at it in a more serious note.
As something prestigious.
Yes, it's something prestigious, it's something that, oh, it's not as attainable. This is the barrier to entry in order to get a high paying job. But
Hmm.
now, with the availability of so many different educational platforms, there,
You just got to do more to
yeah,
stand out.
the lines are blurred now. The lines are blurred. You got to do more than just get a bachelor's degree now, especially now that 53% of the American population has a secondary post degree after high school. So meaning that they've had some college background or
Hmm.
college credits taken after high school.
That's awesome, man. It's a great story too.
Mhm.
I'd like to share as well. Story time.
Let's go.
I'm coming from, so Ray was coming from a background of having graduated. I came from a background where at the time when I was studying, college was a pretty bad investment for me because
Mhm.
at that point in my life, I was just not in the right headspace for anything. Plus, I had a daughter and I needed to work. You know what I mean? So I just did not have or was not in a position to really finish university. And regardless, if I didn't have all these things going on in my life, I don't think I would have fit in school anyway. I'm just one of those too cool for school types or something like that. But I was just an oddball out, and it just never really worked out for me. So, really, my university was the School of Hard Knocks. It was pretty much life. That was my university. But more importantly, my point in sharing this story is that I still went back to school because as an entrepreneur, I learned the value of educating yourself.
Mhm.
And at the time, I think I was studying police science and criminology. I was supposed to be a cop.
Mhm.
Imagine that, bro. But obviously
You
not
look
there,
like a
not
cop.
doing that stuff. Could be, right? Not doing that stuff.
No.
But the thing about entrepreneurship and education is that it goes hand in hand.
Mhm.
Whether whatever medium or means of education you use could be a college diploma or going on YouTube, educating yourself, or taking a formal or going on a formal trade school and stuff like that. It goes hand in hand always. Entrepreneurs' education is paramount. But how you go about that education is totally up to you. I would say because I value education so much, I went back to school, and the thing I'm majoring now is business administration. And the funny thing about that is I was an entrepreneur for 6 years. Yeah, 6 years before enrolling in school in 2020 during the pandemic. I had a lot of time in my hands, so I enrolled in school. Um, and I didn't even have to study the books, to be completely honest, because everything was drawn from experience.
Mm-hmm.
So the thing is, I didn't have any student loans, didn't have any debt, just went through life, but I still know whatever is on that textbook. Whatever activities they had me do, whatever essays they had me write, that shit was closed book, man. It all came from here. This is what I did in this situation, and in that situation, this is what I did as well. And then I passed, you know? And the thing about that is going through the experience versus the education is an absolutely okay thing to do as well. My take on that is, as I said earlier, just make sure not to make those fatal mistakes that will really stop you in your tracks.
Mm-hmm.
Because once that happens and you you stop going to school, you failed in entrepreneurship, that is a shitty place to be in. I
Yeah.
tell you. So get education is paramount, no matter how you do it, man. You just gotta educate yourself.
So
And
now,
my verdict,
so now we're advocating for education.
yeah,
Okay.
dude, education. I'm not advocating for a university, but education, yes.
Yes. For
You
university,
know what
we're
I
not
mean?
advocating for. Okay. I I mean, I get it. I get why people go to the university. And I understand the necessity for it. And
Hmm.
coming from a minority background and from that experience to get to where I am now is an anomaly, because when I tell you that my circumstances and to where I am now is nearly impossible, I look back and think about how education was the escape. I
Mm.
I on the other hand, unlike you, Alex, I was a big time nerd, and out of the 4,000 students that went to my high school, only 400 of us graduated.
Oh
Happily,
wow,
one I was one of them. 4% graduation rate back then, where the
that's what's up.
only routes to go were to join a gang or to
Yeah.
sell drugs on the street in order to make it. And I was able to talk to college counselors that advise me, like, there's other ways, there's other routes to go. And if you don't have direction, and especially in your life, college is a good outlet, even if you have to take on debt for it. And that's what I believe. And I'm not saying I don't advocate for universities or college, but when you're in a situation where you come from in poverty, where you're, let's say, parents aren't don't have a higher education, had never gone to college, don't understand college, don't even understand the nuances of it, going to college and getting that education, getting diploma, and then showcasing it can validate
That's worth it.
the person. And
Hmm.
I would say, when it comes to going to college, getting direction, finding my path in life and where I want to go, that's what why it was worth it. And plus, I think the amount of money that I paid for it was,
Hmm.
yes, ridiculous. If you look at the statistics,
Yeah.
in the span of like 10 to 15 years, college costs have gone up like 500%. It's
Hmm.
insane how expensive it's
Huge.
gotten for absolutely no good reason at all other than greed. Privatized
Yeah.
colleges do this all the time. They increase their tuitions yearly. And even during COVID, when the classrooms and the facilities and all those costs went down, guess what? College went up because the interest of people wanting to attend college increase when people started realizing, hey, wait, I got a terrible job. I got fired from this job. And
Hmm.
if I did get an education, I might be able to get a better job. So college interest increased during the pandemic. And that's why we have one of the largest increase in percentages of secondary schooling between the years of 2019 into 2022, because more people started enrolling, more people wanted to go to college, more
Right.
people wanted a diploma. And within that time frame is now what we're seeing is an increase in hiring, but now the recession is hitting. They hiring too
Hmm.
many people,
Yeah.
a decrease. It's all connected. It's all connected. I don't want to go into a bubble, but keeping it more personal to myself. Uh, yeah, I graduated and in time, and I did so, and I think that education really did open the doors for me. Education was the avenue that I was able to take to make sure that I get to the place where I am now. And if it wasn't for school, I don't think I would be here. But there was a couple of nuances there, Alex. I know I told you about my
Yeah.
start in my career in digital marketing, where everywhere that I applied once I graduated didn't care for where I
Right.
graduated or my GED or where my my GPA was. They didn't care about any of that. They care about, what's the sort of experience you have, who do you know, was number
Who
one,
do you know?
because who do you know
Yeah.
is the only way that I was able to secure a job after I graduated. And it was 2 years after, almost like 2 years after I graduated, that I was able to get a good paying salary job. And it wasn't because I didn't know what I wanted to do. I knew exactly what I wanted to do, which is
Hmm.
odd for many people. I knew I wanted to go into marketing, especially fashion marketing. And that that was something that I was pursuing for a long time. And I wasn't able to get a job for 2 years after I graduated, a secured salary paying job.
So I want to go back to what you mentioned earlier, Ray, about it depends who you know, or it
Yeah.
matters who you know. I think that's a big thing as well, especially when it comes to entrepreneurship, because it is a reality. Could be a
Mhm.
sad reality for some, but it is a reality. After graduating, it's not just how high your GPA is or what Ivy League school you graduated from. It's about who you know in the industry as well.
Yeah.
So I would say I wouldn't bank so much on a college degree. There's got to be a lot more that you got to put on the table in order
Yes.
to make things absolutely work. Definitely a college degree will help jumpstart everything and put you out there. And plus, it'll give you the commitment after doing 2 years or 4 years. It'll give you that commitment and drive to to get things done. But at the same time, there's a lot of things to consider here. And Super Ray, once again, you mentioned such an important factor in that it matters who you know. So when it came to your career, how did you go about that? Meeting these people, being introduced to these people to get the jobs that you needed.
Yeah, I put myself in positions where I knew would get me the most exposure. So
Mm,
if you look at any entrepreneurial story, if you look at anybody's story, they were in the right place at the right time. But
yeah,
like luck doesn't just happen. Luck is opportunity when preparation meets opportunity.
that's
And if
right.
you put yourself in a situation where you can have those opportunities, where you can meet the right people, even standing in front of outside the door of the stock exchange, if you want to be a stockbroker, to meet a stockbroker and interview them and ask them how were they able to do so, and you're bound to find someone that will be willing to help you. In my case, it was that I was working at Bloomingdale's and I was working at the Chanel counter, and
Uh
my
huh.
manager happened to be the HR representative previously at Chanel Corporate. And it was then that he was able to forward my resume to the right people, because that's also what you need to do. You just need someone to get have a chance to look at the resume. Now that we have these automated resume scanners and
Right.
all these different technology, that a human doesn't actually take the time to look at your resume and look at the person before making a hiring decision. Everything is just
Mm-hmm.
made because it's a logical thing. He was able to tell them my story, tell them exactly what I was chasing after. And I kid you not, I was interviewing for different cycles
Uh huh.
within that 2 years time span, because I met him fairly early on as soon as I graduated, because I knew exactly what I wanted to do. And I
Nice.
put myself in that situation, started working at the counter at Chanel, and worked in different areas where I can make connections and try to get my resume forwarded to a fashion house. And it eventually happened, and I was able to do marketing for Chanel. It was nice.
That's
It was really
freaking
good.
awesome, man. I mean, I had a similar thing going on as well after after I stopped going to school and just started working, and then a couple of years after that, when I decided to become an entrepreneur, I didn't know what the heck I was doing, and so it, I was on LinkedIn and just looking for people to kind of connect with. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? I wasn't the type to who would go out to networking events. I mean, I did a few times, but I guess not as much as how it's like in New York. You know what I mean? The
Yeah.
events and networking, it's the shit there, you know.
Yes.
But then in Manila, it's a similar thing. But for me, it was on it. My platform was LinkedIn. I connected with a lot of people there, asked them a lot of questions. You know, there's no harm in asking questions, no matter how stupid or trivial you think they are. They can really make those answers can really make an impact in your entrepreneurial journey. And so that's exactly what I did. Just reached
Alex,
out to
if
a
nobody
lot of
knows,
people.
Alex is the king of LinkedIn marketing
Oh
and number one
gosh.
LinkedIn influencer in the Philippines.
That was back in 2019. But
Yeah.
that did jumpstart my shit for a long time. You know, because at the time I don't think LinkedIn was being used as a platform for networking. It was just a platform for applying for jobs and getting jobs and referrals like that. But then at the time I tried it in such a way where what if I could meet people without having to, go outside of my house or spend money and this and that. And it really worked out for me because I was led to a lot of different directions that would further my education as an entrepreneur, and those directions had nothing to do with school, really. And the thing is, like I mentioned earlier, it was my decision now to really go back because I feel like this is a part of my life that I have not completed yet. And while I do know a lot of the things going on in business administration, I could get stock knowledge and say, hey, this is what I did in this situation, that situation, and write a proper essay. More so than that, it's an accomplishment for me. So going back to school really is a personal goal
That's
for what I'm
awesome.
doing. Yeah.
And what do you expect to gain once you graduate? What is it?
For
You
me,
know,
like I'd say the last 3 years I've been going to school, I probably picked up 3 to 5 things that are particularly useful in my entrepreneurial journey and building businesses, which is goes to say it's not a lot, but there are things that I did pick up. And what I hope to really, really, really get is the satisfaction of it that I was
not
able
like
to complete
validation,
first. Nah,
have
man, I don't need it. I don't
credentials.
need.
No, you don't need
It's not
about.
about validation or significance for me, bro. It's just the satisfaction that I was able to do full circle of a particular journey that I was in.
Hmm.
You know,
That
but
that makes sense.
not
It's
much to
like
do with significance or validation.
this is why I think search social currency is
Mm,
very it's invaluable. And also when it comes to your intellectual acuity, the way that you validate that is with a piece of paper. Unfortunately, if you
right.
have titles in front of your name, doctor, PhD, MBAs, or Esquires, you get that validation because, well, when it comes to, I would say the asterisk in this whole entire uh, segment is that if you're looking to specialize in, let's say, being a doctor or
Hmm.
trying to be a lawyer or a psychologist, or definitely go to school.
Yeah, those
Definitely.
things require.
I don't think, would you ever visit a doctor that tells you, well, I learned
I've
how to
done
be
this
a doctor
before.
online, I learned
Yeah.
how to be a doctor on YouTube, I performed this
Oh
surgery
God.
before on a couple of pigs, so we're ready to go, put them under. With that's the difference, I would say. But when it comes to being an entrepreneur, I would say that there are a lot of dumb people out there that make tons of money. That you don't have to be the
Yeah.
smartest person in order to make the most, like, a lot of money. Like, take Elon Musk, for example. Again, I'll use him, spending $75 billion in a company that's only valued at what, less than 40 at the moment and
Hmm.
keep going down. It's a very dumb business decision move. You don't have to be the smartest person. You do have to be hardworking, and you always have to be willing to learn, and you always have to be willing to
Yes.
accept different ideas and accept different opinions from other people. You can't just live in your own head the entire time. You can't say that I'm right, everybody else is wrong. I have
Uh-huh.
nothing to learn from anybody else. But focusing all that energy and time and commitment in absorbing as much information you can and then making great decisions based off of it. And yeah,
Damn.
with like and it comes to school, I don't think I'll trust a doctor that doesn't have a degree from at least somewhere.
I learned it on YouTube. Oh, I've done this before. I'm like, bitch, holy shit. That there are definitely some job roles wherein you can't compromise formal
Mhm.
education,
Yes, it's
like
true.
what Ray said. But but entrepreneurs, like also what Super Ray said, there are dumb people out there making a ton of making a ton of money, you know? And chances are, if you're listening to this, you're not dumb. So
You're
go
not.
out and make a ton of money. You
Yeah.
absolutely can, and you're absolutely capable of doing that. And one thing I want to build off as my last piece for this segment is what you mentioned. Super Ray is hardworking. You gotta be hardworking. You gotta be obsessed about the thing that you want to achieve as an entrepreneur. You
Mhm.
gotta have that magnificent obsession that will trump any form of adversity that comes your way.
Mhm.
And I think a lot of that is learned from just taking on life, taking on taking on formal education, taking on your personal experiences as an entrepreneur. You know, there's no right or wrong way to live life,
That's true. There isn't.
you know, and
Nobody hands you a roadmap to how to live your life.
exactly,
You
exactly.
you
I
kind of
was
have
gonna
to
say something like that.
test and go and see what works. College may be for you or may not be for it. It may not be for everybody. And like some of the points I've described, there the barriers to entry for now jobs, I would say, have gotten lower but increasingly more difficult. That doesn't mean that
Hmm.
okay, not going to school and like to your point, Alex, doesn't mean you stop learning, doesn't mean you stop going
Right.
to school and getting an education, but not going to college or university doesn't mean that at all. I would say we're moving towards a new like I see timelines and I think like what's going to happen in 5 to 10 years from now, what's going to happen
Mhm.
with education, with the skill sets that you have now, are those skills going to be obsolete in a few years? I
Right.
say yes. You go to school for this for 4 years, you get a what, an English degree. I know how to speak English. This guy knows how to speak English. What, become a teacher, make $30,000 a year to pay off a loan that you pay 60,000 for a year.
Hmm.
To me, it doesn't sound like a good trade. You need to consider what are the pros and what are the cons of going to the school. And if I do go to the school, what am I going to do with that education? And if you don't decide to go to school, what are you going to do in general to find education, to go to school, to get either life experience? Because one thing I do wish I did more was travel while like take a year off, like most
Yeah.
Europeans do. They take a year off before they go to college, and then like kind of discover yourself before you actually really decide what you really want to do with your life, because we're just ordinary people, we don't know which way to go. That's
Right.
John Legend. We find our way as we go. And yeah, that's all I have to say about the matter. Alex,
Damn.
is there anything you would like to add, to
Super
say?
Ray. That was profound, bro. I should have went first. I don't know how I'm gonna follow that up. You know what I mean? I'm gonna just say, you know what? Hard work trumps a lot of things. But at the same time, make sure to play harder. And that's what we do over here at the Business
Mhm.
Tempo. We always want to start your weekend right. We know how to work hard, but at the same time, we play harder too. And hey, it's been a real great episode. You know, I haven't really talked to someone about where my head at was when it comes to college education and then entrepreneurship. Is it really needed and all that? And so this was an enlightening experience for myself as well, because I get to share a part of me that I have not really revealed to many people live on YouTube.
That's what we're here
So
to do. We're
appreciate
here
that,
to.
right?
I think the audience here, we all appreciate the stories. We all appreciate where you're coming from, because what I love about us is that we provide different outlooks
Mhm.
and a different perspective on things. I myself college educated, Super Alex not college educated, but
In
he went
college.
back to school to get his education because he
Uh-huh.
still values it. He knows how important it is. And then yeah, whether you get it later in life or earlier in life, it doesn't matter, as long as you're continuously getting going after and pursuing a higher goal. And this is why they call it higher education. Are you pursuing the higher goal
Exactly.
of higher education? As long as you're pursuing that, whatever it is that you decide to do, doesn't matter. And then Super Alex, you're one of the smartest people I know. You're
Oh,
like much more intellectually savvy than any college educated person I've met. And I think that's a true testament of what the difference is too when it comes to school. And then I would also even add, when it comes to being an entrepreneur, there's nobody that knows more about the logistics, the financing, the everyday, just from start to finish, from A to Z. You got it. You got all the tools, you got all the people, you have the resources, you have the mind for it, you have the drive, you have the work ethic. I don't know more to say, bro. You are just
all
an
that
incredible
stuff they don't teach
entrepreneur.
in
And
school.
for you not to have this formal education and be able to accomplish what you have accomplished so far,
Mhm.
it's just absolutely incredible, and a true testament to those people out there. That, I mean, if Alex can go ahead and do it, anybody can do it. I hate saying that sentence, but like, look,
Yeah. Thanks for
it,
using me as an example. But hey, man, your words are taken very, very warmly. Really appreciate that. It's been an interesting journey, and it's not even over yet. So
Mhm.
there's still a lot to learn in life. There's still a lot to experience. I think my love and lust for life is just something that continues to drive me to learn more and succeed as much as I
Mhm.
can, bro. And working with you always here at the Business Temple, always killing it every single weekend. Absolutely loving it. Thank you for being over here, Super Ray, and everybody watching right now. Really appreciate you. Make sure to smash that like button and stay consistent with us. 9 a.m. PT, 12 p.m. ET every single Saturday, live here on YouTube, where we talk about the union of business and philosophy. Thank you for coming over. That's what's up.
Peace. See you guys next
Peace.
week in
Laters.
Coachella.
That's what's up, Coachella, baby.
Bye.